This is the Redallover show with me, Josh Aberton, Andy Simcox, Craig Wood, and Tracy Martin. No game this weekend, so we are going to have a little bit of a reflection on the transfer window. We're going to look at sort of where we are so far, give ourselves a rating, and then look at what we said pre-season of predictions as well. So let's get stuck into it. So, Craig, it's been a turbulent, no, not turbulent, but inconsistent month. Obviously, August looked strong. Start of September looked strong. First international break seemed to derail us a touch. Obviously, now it's hitting this second one, sort of another self-imposed one. Where do you think we do stand? Because obviously, pre-season, I think you had us down as 9th, 10th, similar to mine. So, start in more or less where you predicted. Gave us transfer window 7 out of 10 as well. Still sticking with the same?
Yeah, I am, and I'm not. I'm not happy with results, obviously, but I'm not. I don't think we've played badly. I think we've probably deserved more than we've come away with. Um, the game against Wickham, I think it was just a couple of lapses in concentration. But you're going to get that with a young team, and that's what we've got. But I think, I'm not throwing baby out with bathwater. I'm not saying I can't understand these people that are saying Conor should get sacked and blame it board as well. I think everybody who I've talked to have always said that manager's been backed, and I still think he's been backed. Also, as well, I don't think that this was a team that you could have turned over in just one window. I think it'll probably take a couple of years for Conor to get fully happy with his full squad. So I think we've made a brilliant start. I think we need to continue the work. I think the football we're playing, I think some teams are finding us out a little bit, playing a bit more defensive against us. You know, the likes of Port Vale did and Wimbledon. But I can still see Conor tinkering. You know, putting Vickers behind the striker, putting Phillips out wide, swapping Keeler Dunn with McGoldrick. You know, letting Watson push up a bit more in last game, pulling out better back a little bit, trying to keep a bit more in a shape. So when I see a manager's out of ideas, that's when I think a manager should go. And Connor's clearly not out of ideas. So for me, I'm still rating it 7 out of 10. I think we've had a couple of suspensions we've had to deal with. We've had a few injuries we've had to deal with, just like any other squad would. So look, I just think results will turn around eventually. You know, I think we've just hit a little bit on a rut, but I think Connor's got the experience to get us out of it.
Just on that, would you be happy if, say, comes up to January, 2 points outside playoffs, which we are now, sort of, would you be happy with that, or would you expect a little bit more or a little bit less?
Um, I did say fourth after the window had finished. I thought around fourth, so I would like us to be around sixth because obviously a team ain't gonna gel in a couple of months. You know, it could take other 6 to 8 to 9 months. So for me, so long as the performances are still there, we're still creating chances, and we're not getting beat on a regular basis, and we're not getting beat by Brighton scores, then yeah, I'll be happy enough. You know, so, like I said, so long as the team is still showing the fight and Connor's still um, looks fresh and bringing new ideas to the table, and the football doesn't get boring, which is ultimately what I hate more than anything else is boring football. Then I'd be happy with 2 points outside playoffs come January.
Sounds somewhat positive in a negative times. You just feel like the last few games have been almost a little bit draining on everybody. But I mean, if we don't concede the two late goals, Blackpool and Wickham, we're inside playoffs, and probably everyone's a little bit more upbeat about it than we does seem. Tracy, you gave the transfer window a 9 out of 10.
No, I gave it an 8, I think.
You gave it an 8.
Yeah.
I'd set same as well after seeing the last few results. I'd have also changed it. And I'm just trying to pull up the document that does have your thing. No, it doesn't have it
10th.
there.
10th. I think I went for
Okay.
10th.
So somewhat a little bit reserved on league position.
Yeah.
Revisiting that, would you change it or are you sticking with that?
I'm just double checking because I wrote it in my phone. Let's have a look. Yeah, I did have us down as 10th, yeah. But then I also had Plymouth at top, so there you go. What do I know? Nothing. Yeah, similar to Craig, really. I don't. I mean, we're just outside the playoffs, but a game in hand, which would put us inside the playoffs if you win it, which I know is easy to say. But if you'd have, it's one of them where if you'd have said to me at the beginning of the season, at this point, this is where you'll be, I'd have been really happy before the season started. But then obviously 6 weeks ago, if you'd have said that, I'd have probably been disappointed because we were showing signs of, just getting better and better with every game. So up until the Blackpool game, things were obviously great. We've hit a bit of a divot, but yeah, I didn't expect us to be probably as good as we were so quickly because of the change in formation, team, manager, coaching staff, etc. I know Conor were there last year, but it weren't really massive, were it? So I think, yeah, I can't moan. Wickham seemed to show signs of a resurrection a little bit. Yeah, you talked about on Sunday, in the reaction show that it was disappointing. The substitutions probably didn't help us, and obviously we still have some defensive frailties. We didn't manage the game very well. However, for large proportions of that game, we were in complete control and should have been outside. But at least we played better, created chances again, and looked like a team that were wanting to play and go forwards. Whereas the previous couple of league games, Blackpool and Port Vale, we were a bit worried that we were getting into a bit of a negative mindset. So I think Wickham showed us that we grew into that game and we actually played some decent stuff. I think what Conor has brought is the club together as best he can. The past two managers, for whatever reason, and the fans didn't take to them. I know they played boring football, but even so, particularly Collins, who actually we did all right under when you look at the league position. I think, his football weren't entertaining, but we did okay. But nobody really liked him. And Clark, nobody really liked him either, although he was dealt an awful hand. But I think with Conor, he knows what it means to play for Barnsley. He knows what it means to get the crowd behind him. He knows what it means to come from the town. And I think he's really tried to push into that, the way he's made a big sort of connection with the fans, or tried to make a connection with the fans. Even little things like, when they've warmed up, they come over, they clap the fans. At the end of the game, he comes over, he walks onto the pitch, he always claps the fans, he makes a point of walking around the edge. Just little things like that where I think he's just trying to grow sort of, some relationship, because it's been awful the last 2 years and getting progressively worse. So I credit him for that. I would like to think that my prediction of 10th is wrong now, looking at who we held on to and what we've signed and the potential that they've got. Roberts getting injured so early hurt us a lot because he's probably our most consistent centre-half and a leader at the back, more importantly than anything. I just think he gels the back together, and not having him there has been a massive hole. Although I think Shepherd has massively grown into the side throughout the start of the season. But yeah, I'd still stick with me 8. Could I drop to a 7 with hindsight? Maybe. But I think it'd still be harsh because I think we've kept the good players, and the players that we've brought in, generally speaking, have made an impact and have made an improvement. So yeah, I think we've done all right.
Yeah, it does feel, Andy, like it's also just Andy's furious about starting this recording now as he ordered himself a Chinese, even though we've penciled in doing this show at this time 3
No,
days
you didn't. No, you didn't.
2 days ago.
No, you didn't.
Everyone else knew what time we were
No,
recording.
I'm not having that.
Everyone else said we're
They're
doing it at 7 o'clock.
These 2 years have got sad lives then. They're just waiting for you to send the flipping codes through. No. You
Sounds
said
to me like they're prepared.
certainly not before 7 o'clock, and we know why. So I didn't know it were going to be at 7 o'clock. She didn't pencil nothing in.
Not having that.
No, everyone else were at 7 o'clock and ready.
But there might have been because they've got sad lives. Parents, look at them. Got sad lives.
No, committed, and have got it booked in because we said 7 o'clock.
Committed.
We've got his life straightened out, and we know when things are happening and what time they're happening, so we make sure we're present.
Read through it. Read through it. Read through it and see if it says 7 o'clock or certainly not before 7 o'clock.
We'll
Read
just
through
well,
it.
Right, well,
yeah.
And then you know the next show, then you can, instead of all picking on me like we did with Craig, it's my turn now. Instead of all that, you can, on the next show, you can apologise to me. I'll be happy with that. Now you've all started. And no, I haven't finished my Chinese yet, because I had plenty of time to eat it, and I feel let down by you. Not as much as I feel let down by Barnsley at this current moment, but close. While you're getting it rah, 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 we've lost 4 on the flipping trot. We've gone 3 games without scoring a goal. We managed to score 2 and still snatch a draw from the jaws of victory. So I'm not going to go rah, rah, rah. I reckon we'd finish 8th. And I'm disappointed about saying that we'd finish 8th because I thought that we might finish just inside the playoffs in 6th. I can't quite remember what I said for the window. I think I originally said 6, but then upped it to 7.
Just on that, you did say we'd finish 9th this season.
9th.
Yeah,
Well, let's see
you
if,
said
we
9th.
see if. Oh, I meant like an improvement on last season. Then. Right, 9th. Well, I'm hoping that it's going to be 6th this season. 8th, 9th. It's only a point. It's only one place, isn't it? It's only a couple of quid. So apparently. So yeah, I'm very, very disappointed. I thought the window went really well. Right, first thing, disappointed in some of our fans, like Craig, having a dig because now it's what we need to do is get rid of the dead wood. We've got rid of 21 players, counting loan play. There's not much dead wood unless you can get. There's always somebody that you can says dead wood, somebody that's not playing right well. You can always have a few, but I think that we've done a flipping good job at clearing out players that aren't going to fit the style. Not saying they're good players, not saying they're bad players, but they fit the style. And it's brought, I think, this window, decent players in. But I think there were some glaring errors. We knew, before the window shut, we knew that Mark Roberts was going to be out injured for a few months. And that really is, as Tracy said, a crying shame because him and Shepherd, who maybe it'd have been the 2 centre halves, are the 2 for me that block, that go and put the bodies on the line to block things. And now it's only Jack Shepherd. Because others are, we can say there's not a right lot of blocking going on. Sometimes from crosses, Watson and better get block some crosses in. Sometimes they don't, but sometimes they do. So, they do a bit of that. I think it were glaring that we needed, for me, a big Brusson centre half that could play instead of Mark Roberts because we don't know how long he's going to be out for. We don't know if he's going to get injured again. And well, it sounds like disrespect to Jake Rooney. I don't mean it as great disrespect, but what I've seen of him, it's not a lot. It's just, bits of games and one game and, bit of others. That, for me, I don't see him being much of an upgrade to Conor Barrett, who's now going out on loan. So I don't understand that. He's a ball-playing centre-half. And he looks a decent player, but we need somebody big and Brusson. Like such a Stevenage, you've got big Brusson centre halves that aren't going to take any nonsense. That's what we need. For me, we want somebody who's going to defend rather than be great on the ball. We're not Man City. We need somebody who can defend and get the ball away, get the bodies in way. Don't let a player turn, get under them, all that. And we didn't do. We haven't done that. We did get Rooney, so we have got some cover in it, but I don't see it as being a massive upgrade. Should have had an alternative up front. Should have had. Whether it's just somebody that's strong and quick, a bit like Reyes, or somebody tall, big and Brusson. So we've actually got a plan B, not Cosgrove, but somebody big and Brusson that's going to hold the ball up and do all that. We haven't, and that's been the drawback. And then we come to my biggest disappointment is last season. How many times did we throw it away at last? Well, it started being last 15 minutes, and then it started to turn to be last 5 minutes with stupid individual errors, collective errors, and I don't know, switching off, lack of fitness, loads of reasons why it could be. This season we started off really, really well, and I honestly believed that we'd turned that corner. They were a lot fitter. We could see games out, and we could see that Conor, in his housery and that dark arty bit, he could sort that out. And these last few matches, we've gone back to it. We've just gone back to it. Injury time goal right at the end of the games. Injury time defeat. 2-0 up with 2 minutes to go, and we can't hold it out. We just can't. And I'm not going to get into an argument to where better were and where flipping Josh Earl were and who turned who and who's not right quick. We know Josh Earl's not right quick, so you mitigate it. But we just get goals away. We just switched off again. And we're back to conceding daft late goals. And it's cost us a minimum of 3 points. I think if we'd got 3 points, we'd be in a much better position. We'd be in the playoffs, not 2 points behind we'd be in it. So for me, it's that returning to whence we came last season, and that's the biggest disappointment. We need to give sends a check and stop doing it. Stop making substitutions that's making us worse. We need 2 defensive midfield players to cover for a back four. We all know that. So take one off and put John Russell on. Dear God. And then we need somebody that's going to hold the ball up front. So we bring Ferrugia on, whose best thing is he gets ball, cuts inside and smacks it off at crossbar. It's not what we need. It's not what we need. For me, if you're going to go with the players we've got, why not in centre of midfield to get De Givini in there or somebody that can actually defend and get a tackling? Because Johnny Russell ain't it. He's not it. So we're just intent on throwing it away. So not happy. We're throwing it away again, and it's ridiculous. I'm sorry, Tracy. I'm sorry. Am I keeping you up?
No, you froze about 2 minutes ago, and you've only just started moving again.
Oh, I'm going perfectly. Do you want me to start again then?
No!
No, please, no.
Absolutely not.
But you and Craig didn't freeze last time either.
Couple of things in that.
Where did I mention Deadwood?
Eh?
He's got ump on for his Chinese, Craig.
I haven't caught me saying Deadwood. I never mentioned Deadwood.
We'll just leave him because he's
You're
Chinese.
last week, him this week.
You're going to give yourself indigestion, Andy. Just chill.
You need a Rennies at this rate. What's going on? Couple of things. In terms of a plan B.
We ain't got one.
Okay. Would you not say we used plan B against Wickham last week? Of like, plan B doesn't need to be a different player. It can be a different way of playing. Because also we had, as Craig said, Obita sat a lot deeper than what he does normally, and Reyes Cleary hugging the touchline, Vickers in the middle, Adam Phillips out right, rather than it being sort of Vickers and Phillips stood on each other's toes all game, and McGoldrick and DKD. Would you not say that was a plan B that worked fairly well?
Well, most teams have a plan B for in-game management, not right at kick-off. So if you want to call that a plan B by moving Vickers behind and having him more to the left and what have you, then we need a plan C for in-game when it's not working. Push back and back and back. I appreciate that Reyes was blowing and again cramp and what have you, and so something needs to happen with that. And I ain't got a problem with such as Kelly coming on. But we got Johnny Bland, who I don't know if you were, I don't know what, I know we were on a booking or what have you, but look who we brought on to play in that defensive role. Johnny Russell can't play that position. We saw for a season that he can't play in that position. He can play further forward, and he's got about it turns like an oil tank, a bit like me, really. And I'm not saying he's a bad player because he's got some attributes, but not straight in front of the defence where Johnny Bland plays. So it were always going to be tricky for us as a club, and we'd just thrown it away for a second league game. Just thrown it away.
Do you think it would all right? I mean, it's different the Blackpool game of losing a point, obviously chucking 2 away against Wickham, but sort of within that, I mean, the second goal's got nothing to do with John Russell. Like it's opposite. It basically happens on the opposite side of the picture, and the first one again. I mean, the person you're sort of saying here is not really...
Not blaming John Russell for either of them.
Okay.
Not blaming him personally for them. But if you need a defensive midfield player, it ain't John. We started redoing him as a left winger come more attacking midfield player, and he can do all right. He can arrive late in the box and get his head on it. But defensively, we were shocking in so many ways. I'm not going to go through both goals again. But we had 7 players in the box for the equaliser, and nobody anywhere near the flipping ball. So that was a comedy of errors where people should have got in the way of it, should have closed the goal scorer down, should have saved it, should have done better in goal, whole range of things. And it's difficult because I'm so frustrated that we've dropped 3 points through poor game management at the end, having spent against Wickham 88 minutes. Apart from this, started pushing us back a bit. But for the vast majority of that, we were in control of that game, and we've conspired against ourselves to chuck it away after being really good, and looking compact, passing it well, getting at them, causing them to make mistakes, and then inevitably, we can't even be 2 goals up with 2 minutes to go.
Maybe try three. Three might work. I'm going to put a tin hat on now for the friendly fire that's going on here and keep myself safe. Craig, it is obviously we knew Conor still been relatively new to the role, and it does seem something that is coming under criticism a lot recently in terms of substitutions and seeing games out. Because, I mean, it's almost like he's gone from the first part of the season when we played Bolton, Peterborough, and Wimbledon back to back, same starting 11, barring Jurgen Nathan sending off. So there's sort of one enforced change in that run of games where he kept the same 11. It sort of came to Wimbledon. It's like third game in a week. Legs had fell off players a little bit, especially in that second half, and never really got going in it as such. Whereas now it seems like it feels a little bit to me like he switched the other way and like almost won't stop like trying to freshen it up and keep it fresh, and it does sort of lead to disjointedness in the most part of it, which does seem in a way to be costing us. Obviously, the game against Blackpool, players not coming out quick enough. It seems like a similar problem against Wickham. Again, second goal, no one really comes out quick enough to the player with the ball. Same detail in Blackpool, that it's almost like tinkering for the sake of tinkering in a way.
Yeah, but I also think there's been a lot of personal errors in there. I don't think there've been system issues. I don't think he's changed the full system and it's completely gone against us and we've lost that way. I think some of the substitutions, I agree, are questionable. I don't like Johnny Russell playing in front of the defence. He should be way up the pitch behind the striker. That's his position. I think the end of last season fully says that in the way he played. You know, getting goals, being effective up the pitch, and being able to hold the ball up the pitch as well. But he's not press resistant in the slightest. He gets the ball to his feet, and he can't think quick on his feet. So sometimes it's like a donkey trying to control the ball. If he's getting he gets flustered very very quickly. But if he's got time on the ball and he's got time to think about what he's going to do, he's a fantastic player further up the pitch. But I do think that the substitutions that he's made, like Johnny Russell coming in the last game, he had no other options and Bland were blowing. So he fetched on the only other midfielder he could. Now, I agree, you could maybe have put Watson or a better in midfield and fetched on a defender to go in that position. And in hindsight, that seems like something you could do. Or personally, what I would have done is brought Phillips back and put another winger, put McGoldrick on the right, or I'd have preferred to have done it that way because we know Phillips can play deep. He can play pretty much anywhere across the whole midfield, and we know he's got the energy to run for a full 90 minutes. So personally, that's what I would have done. But like I said, this is all learning for Conor. You can't expect him to know these things straight off the bat. And, it's not just that, but he's got coaches in his ear as well. Keogh's going to be getting his point of view and he's going to be hearing things from other people. He's got the players huffing and puffing behind him because they ain't got on yet. And, he's got to learn to cope with all that, but that's going to take time. And like I said, I don't think he's fully happy with the full squad yet. Like normally we'd have Jurgen Nathan on the bench, being able to come on for Bland, and he didn't have that option. So look, I think you've just got to give him time, give him the full season at bare minimum. It's his first year as a manager, and the learning curve is going to be steep and it's going to be sharp. And I think Conor's the right sort of personality to take that on board and run with it. And like I say, I'm not going to throw baby out with bathwater. I don't think he's going to fail at this job. I think he's going to come on stronger as the season goes on, as he starts. Maybe after January when he gets a couple more bodies in, it's going to be a slow and gradual recruitment process over certain windows. But yeah, like I said, some questionable decisions, but I don't think it's solely down to Conor. I don't think he's changed the system and made us lose. I think it's just individual errors. Maybe not having such an high line could have stopped a couple of them goals as well. The players getting out against Blackpool could have stopped that goal. But these are just little things that you can show the team. Say, look, yeah, it might be 92nd minute, but as soon as that ball is out of the box, you get out and you get out fast. And these are the conversations that need to be happening on the training pitch and in the analysis room and stuff like that. So, like I say, I think we'll still improve. Like I say, the performances are still there for me. It's just lapses in concentration and individual errors.
Do you just a follow-up question there, sort of saying there's still a cycle of sort of transfers and transitions to make? Obviously, it's been a shift in style and formation of playing with wingers, which we had to go and sign like 3 or 4 wingers this window alone, and also Tom reminded me earlier, we've not paid a fee really for a player for the last 2 transfer windows either, barring the nominal fee for Patrick Kelly and Reyes Cleary to come out of their contracts. Do you think, though, this is almost like the last chance of some players, such as the big 3 that we've kept of DKD, Phillips, Luca Connell? Because I know obviously it'd be an ideal world to keep building on what we've got, but it does feel like there's probably a bit of a shelf life of having them 3 together at the club. Because it already said in the summer that we expected one of them to move on as sort of a minimum, whereas now we're a little bit further along that timeline and it feels like this is the last year for probably one of them.
I think it's for all 3. I think it's for all 3. The last year they'll be at this club unless we get promoted. Connell and Phillips are in the last year. Next year they'll be the last year, and we'll have to sell them because it's how we sustain. And Keeler Dunn can't have another year in League One. It's just not going to happen. He's going to get picked up by somebody in Championship if we're not there. So yeah, I completely agree. It's either this year or it's a complete rework of key players that we're going to have to fetch in.
It does feel like that every year, though, Tracy, doesn't it? There's some sort of rebuild that we have to go through. It never feels, well, to be fair, it probably was this season that's been the least amount of turbulence in terms of losing a key player and trying to replace him. Obviously, a few seasons ago, Kitchen, Mads go, the entire back line went that year. The year after, Jordan Williams, Herbie Kane also left. It does feel like every year it's a case of having to rebuild what's there and not building. This has probably been a little bit of the most stable one, but still, as Craig said, there's still been a lot of work to go on to sort of implement Conor's style as well.
Yeah, I think generally the transfer window's gone all right in terms of, we have been pretty stable. The worrying thing, of course, will come in January when we have the same worry about those 3 again, depending on where we are in the league, but also the pressure on of exactly what Andy said of, well, we didn't get that centre-half and we didn't get that centre-forward, so you would hope that somewhere now, currently, someone is working hard to start already looking. We knew then what we needed. Well, nothing's changed. We still need the same players, and it's even more obvious. You look at that league table, and I know we talk year on year about, it's an hard league, it's an easier league, it's whatever, and it's the league is the league, and it is what it is. But there's no way that if you'd have said to me, Stevenage would be top with Wimbledon up there, and Bradford, to be fair, although I know Bradford are generally a big club and have done really well, but I still wouldn't have had Stevenage at top and Bradford in second, with Wimbledon in the top 6. And yeah, they might fall away, but they're not falling away. What are we, 10 games in, 11 games in, and they're not falling away. So it's just, there's a bit of me thinks, not it's now or never, but we've got a real chance this season. I haven't seen a side yet who've blown me away in terms of, last year we knew about the Birmingham, etc. We knew that, wow, they're just better. But I haven't seen that. I haven't seen a side that's blown us away, So I just think we've just got a chance. And it's that again where last year I felt a bit like this with Clark, and we know what the January window did to us. It killed us, it destroyed us, it got in the sack, and then we just petered out completely. What I really don't want to happen is that this season, and I hope that somewhere someone is already planning for that. Whether it's, I don't know what's happening with this ownership, whether there's anything to read into that, or whether it's just rubbish, we don't know. But I just hope some, with Mladen going, all right, who's doing what? 'Cause we've still not heard anything about that. We still don't know who's, as usual, the club are tight-lipped. We don't know what's happening. And I just think we've got a chance because we're doing all right. We've done all right. I completely agree with everything that Andy said. We have been awful recently, but we're doing all right. Look at where we are with what we've got. We've got a lot of young players who are only going to get better. There's a lot of naivety in the team, including to some degree with the manager, who's also going to get better. So I just think we've got a right good chance at this league this year, more than I anticipated, far more. And now we've got that bit of hope. I just think, are we going to go for it? Are we really going to go for it? Because I just think we've got a chance, but it's a big ask in terms of will it happen, will it not happen? I don't know.
It does feel, Andy, of like it almost is there for the taking. When you do look at a league table, as Tracy said there's a lot of sides in that top six at the minute that you wouldn't really expect to be there. Like Bradford, I think, have caught a lot of teams off guard and they've been a really strong side so far. Even Stevenage being top, I don't think anyone would have guessed that after 10 games as such, apart from maybe an
Matt Farley,
optimistic. Yeah, he might have.
Duracell Bunny,
He
I'd
might
say
have
it.
backed it. But
It
it does
still
feel
is.
like it does feel like it is there to be taken. Obviously, as Trey said there last season, Birmingham spent £100 million on Jay Stansfield, and Wrexham again, heavy investors, which we know we can't compete with. So we already knew we were kind of just playing for a playoff place. Whereas this year, it does feel quite wide open across the league. And it does feel like January is going to be even more make or break than it was last year of getting in these players that we know we've needed for 18 months.
This is probably for not just for us, but for loads of teams. This season is probably a good season for a lot of teams because, as Tracy said, there's a couple of clubs there. Chuck Wrexham in with the money that they can engender that were looking pretty strong last season. So, and it worked out this way. The teams, you'd expect them to be teams at the top and get promotions. So the rest of us were scrabbling for the other places. And we looked good and then dropped off. I just hope that we hadn't dropped off even earlier than we did last season because we did so well. And then have just messed it up and for a variety of reasons, individual mistake. But it can be the same sort of reasons or excuses depending on your position on it all as last season. Conor is going to make mistakes, and it's easy, isn't it, looking back. If we'd have won 2-0, nobody would have thought about the substitutions he made. It were a good idea we needed, because hindsight's got 2020 vision. But it didn't work out, and it's not the first time it's not worked out. So I hope is going to come to realise who we can trust in certain positions to do what's supposed to be done, what needs to be done to see a game out in the only way he can, because he were really good, not just for us, but really good at seeing games out as a player. And he needs to impart some of that knowledge for me on others. I certainly am not in the camp that says he's not the man for the job, because in my honest opinion, it's only mine, he most certainly is the person for the job. It's only a few weeks ago that we were saying, enjoy Conor being our head coach because we're not going to have him long because he's going to the very top. Now he's not the right fit and we need to get short because he's never going to get us anywhere. I think they've forgotten as Baggy and Shop. And to be honest, Darryl Clark, who, from what some players were saying or seem to be saying, clueless. So it certainly ain't that. And he's decided what he wants, a different style of play, and he's gradually getting players to play in those positions. And we've got rid of loads of players. We've kept the players everybody wanted to keep. We've kept them, and we've augmented it with some young players, but good players. And they are going to be naive, and we are going to. And I just think we need to have an extra strength in that defensive midfield because either Luca or Johnny are going to get injured or going to run out of steam or wherever, and we need to practice that there can be somebody else there. I'm not sure Yoga's the one for it because
Patrick Kelly as well.
I
Patrick
don't
Kelly.
see him. I don't see him as being defensive. I see him as an attacking midfield player, and I honestly think a real quality player. I think he's going to be one of our star players him and Reyes, star players in the coming. Well, possibly this season, but certainly in the coming seasons, defensive midfield player. No, because again, it'd be wasted. We need players that like them that can run with the ball and get at them. And there's been a lot. I know Josh Hill's had a load of stick, but he's a quality player. He's just not right quick. He's a quality player. He comes out with the ball. It looks $1 million when he's on the ball. If you don't hold on to it for too long. But at this minute, we need defenders that are going to defend first and foremost. And we aren't with Mark Roberts. I get so frustrated that I see us lining up to have shots from the edge of the box, 20 yards out, and they get blocked because there's players coming out from defence, flying, putting themselves in the way of it. We've only got a couple that do that, one of which is injured, and that's just, well, you can teach that. You can teach that. It should be somebody's job to come and block it, come and get in the way of it, anything like that, and we don't. Well, we haven't. So
there's a free agent at the minute who might just be the badger for that person.
Not you.
Tom Lockyer, who's just been released by Luton.
Charlton, they reckon Charlton, don't they?
I think he maybe needs to do a stint in League One.
Bit of rehab for him.
Yeah,
he needs a change of scenery.
Some of this northern air or something like that.
That's what he needs. Because I do. It'd be nice to layer that because Roberts is 34 now.
Yeah.
And Tom Lockyer experience, he probably could be the one that fits that. Anywho, get your thoughts down.
And don't start on Stevenage. They're up there by merit. They've got a strong defence. Hardly conceded any goals last season. Not this season.
I didn't start them. I just said they were a surprise. I didn't say they were all.
I don't know. I don't know why we're surprised because they're evil eye on us last season.
Did you put them in top six?
We put them in top six.
We couldn't hold together. They made us look stupid every flipping. All last season, they made us look like mugs.
We only played them twice.
Well, and they outdone us twice easily.
No, I'll be honest. Out of Tom, Tracy, Andy, me, and Craig, not one of us put Steve in your top six.
That was a surprise.
Not one of us put. No one put in top six.
Oh.
No one. So
we're going to drop away to seventh.
You might.
That rate.
You might be on your way to Matt Palley's podcast at this rate.
Always.
I think I'm going to buy him a Stevenage shirt.
Yeah. Anywho, get your thoughts of how we've been doing so far this season in the comments below. What do we need to be targeting in January? I think I can predict what most of the comments will be saying already. What do you think Conor's been doing? Do you think he does have a plan B? Do you think he needs more support during January to help with that? And what do you think to transfer down a little bit more reflection and a more retrospective view? So, finishes a little bit there on the transfer window in the season and where it's up to. Get your thoughts. If you want to update where you think we're going to finish, get them down in the comments as well. We'll finish up with somewhat of a very speculative rumour, is what it seems so far, of Nirav apparently wants to have full ownership. Craig, there's absolutely nothing to corroborate this other than a post on, I think it's a Barnsley FC News and Now page who posted it, of saying that he wants to take full ownership. Do you think there's anything in that? Because it does, I mean, from my point of view, every time we have a fans forum, the first thing he mentions is he has to shell out 8 million quid a year to keep the club sustainable. And to take full ownership, then surely, I mean, obviously they'll be chipping in between them as the board directors to fund it, whereas if he takes full ownership, just 8 million quid of his own money.
Yeah, I don't believe it at all. I said it last video that the rumour mill will start swirling because of Conor's comments, and here we are a week later, and there's rumours flying around like this. And I've looked online, there's nothing, absolutely nothing. I think it's Chinese whispers, and somebody's got odd on it and decided to make a poster, and then everybody shared it.
You have to bring up Chinese, don't you? You have to mention Chinese.
Speaking of which, I think Craig has got a picture that states we were definitely meeting at 7 o'clock. So just saying that, just put it in there.
I sent it to chat.
Don't worry, it's been on screen 20 minutes ago.
Disgraceful.
It's been on screen.
Well, I think. Oh, go on, Tracy. Sorry.
I know it wasn't me. I'm just having a go at you. No,
we don't care what you've got to say, Andy. We're interested.
I don't either.
To say about this. Tracy, do you think there's anything, Nick? Because obviously it's, I mean, if there is, hopefully there's the only thing that fans really care about is investment into the playing staff side of it, and also the club in general. So obviously, if it does, I mean, Nirav's full control, if that did equate to that, can't really be a bad thing.
Well, it's a funny one, I suppose. I don't really know, because I suppose if he gets more, if he owns more, but then he's saying he can't afford it, are we then in a worse situation? I don't know. The Crimes are a bit like Marmite, aren't they? But generally speaking, I think they tend to have the club at heart. Well, I think Jean does. So I'm not sure that they'd sell. And Julian Key has been, well, we've not seen much of her, have we? So it's just, I don't know, it's a bit odd. But I have seen nothing to prove that anything that was on that was true. So no, I'm not even. To be honest, I'm just not entertaining it at the moment. I just don't think it's a viable option at the moment, because he's always claiming he's got no money and we need to sell. So I'm thinking, well, if we need to sell, can you really buy more? So yeah, it don't really add up for me.
I mean, I assume the thinking behind it, if it is true, Andy, is that there'll be less resistance if he did want to implement or do something. Because he'd have, I mean, I think he already is a majority shareholder, doesn't he? He has over 50%. So, I mean, I don't know what that means in terms of if, like, he says one thing in the entire board goes against him. I don't know if that means he then can't do something. Whereas if he has a stronger share, he can do sort of what he wants to do. But it just seems a strange thing.
You need to bookmark this section, because I think it's 100% true. I mean, it's what Conor were alluding to, weren't it, in his post-match interview, that's all of a sudden not there. Things going off behind the scenes. This is what it is. Near have that. It's on Facebook. What's wrong with you three? It's on Facebook. Of course it's true. What's the matter with you? It's utterly, utterly true, because it wouldn't be on Facebook if it weren't true. There you go.
There we go. That's it sorted. So Nirav majority shareholder by end of next week. Maybe end of this week. There we go.
Who knows?
Sorted.
He might flog a couple of them apartments he bought last year. And he'll fund it that way.
There we go.
I'll have to go into his own pocket then.
We'll have to get Kieran.
Lower his portfolio a little bit.
We'll have to get Kieran on again to come and explain it to us. What would it possibly mean if he did take up full ownership? If you do know, put it in the comments down below of, well, what would that even mean? Would it mean that he can now do stuff with less resistance at board level? I have no idea, because I have no understanding of what that is. Right, we'll be back next Wednesday to preview Bradford City at home. And there'll be nothing else to touch on, so there'll be a nice short...
We're away.
Oh, Bradford away.
Yeah.
Oh, you win some, you lose some.
You know what?
Oh, back. We'll get Andy back. These away days.
Oh yeah.
Those bantam
Plugging it about 6 times in the next video.
Oh, the bantams.
Them bantam chickens. They're going to come and get you.
Let's hope they come out. Let's hope they come home to roost.
Honestly,
I'm not going to keep going on with that.
Didn't they have a left back called Chickson as well a few seasons ago?
Honestly, if I see them chickens in our replies,
the chickens are up to summit.
This is my plea to the players this week: do not lose this game, because if I see you've been pecked by the chickens, my head's going to be on Mars.
Hold on, so I make a note of that.
My head is going to be on Mars.
Well, I've not seen all players off on the summer holidays like the last international break, where they were plastering everywhere saying, "Oh, I'm here, I'm here." I'm hoping that they're running around the field.
I'll tell you what, if we lose to them...
As long as Humphries doesn't score, I'm happy.
Oh, he's going to score, and he is going to score.
If they beat us, I'll be clucking furious.
You know what? We'll end it on that, because that is exactly what Al would have said.
Indeed.
There we go. Perfect way
to Val.
Right, we'll be back on Wednesday with our Bradford preview. We'll see you there, you Reds.